Today, we're going to find out how to become an NFT influencer. Excited to interview Tyler Says, who has built a name for himself in the NFT community by buying and selling apes from the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Plus, he's very funny. Welcome to Goats in the Metaverse, the only weekly show that goes into the world of collectibles and NFTs on a weekly basis. I'm your host, Stanley Meytin. By myself once again. Yossi's still out on paternity. Hopefully we'll have him back next week. But I'm excited to get into it and talk to my man Tyler. We're going to bring him in very shortly to go through the weekly update. Before we do that, let's talk about everybody's favorite part of the show, the Goat Vault. Where are we at today? $41,855. The Goat Vault is down. The Goat Vault is down. We need some sort of music and sound effects. The Goat Vault is down. Yes, we are down. Last week we were around $65,000. The market is cooling down. Everybody's scared. Everybody's in a panic. But we're still at $41,000 on a $3,300 investment. Can't be doing that bad. For all of you that don't know what the Goat Vault is, it's our way to give back to our community and get our community more involved. If you subscribe to our show, once we get to 5,000 subscribers, we open up the Goat Vault and give away free NFTs. Right now, those NFTs are worth about $41,855. Who knows what they're going to be worth once we get to 5,000 subscribers. Hopefully we'll get there soon so we could start handing out those NFTs to all of you. So without further ado, I got a co-host for the day. My man Tyler Says, let's bring him in. Tyler, welcome to Goats in the Metaverse.
How you doing, Stanley?
I am living the dream. Like you said, thank God it's Friday. It's been a long week. It's been like we've had sunshine and rainbows in the NFT world for multiple weeks. And I feel like it's cloudy, it's raining, it's gloomy outside. What's going on in the NFT world? The market is down.
I guess that's what happens when Ethereum and Bitcoin are ripping off. People are, trying to ride that wave. I can understand it, but I don't think NFTs are going anywhere. So they'll be back.
I don't think they're going anywhere either. Welcome to the show, my friend. I'm excited to have you on. You are right. Bitcoin is over $60,000. Ethereum is, I believe the last time I checked, around 3,850. Mm-hmm. Will it go over $4,000 once again? Will it go to $10,000?
Yes.
It will. That's it. Tyler predicted it. It is going to $4,000.
Maybe next week. I think it will. Definitely.
You think so? Mm-hmm. Listen, I believe that it will go over $4,000. When we don't know, but it is.
I'm saying next week.
You're saying Tyler is saying next week. Gabby, make sure you turn this into a video. We send it to Tyler. We put it all over the internet. Once it gets over $4,000. Tyler said it first. It is going to $4,000 next week.
Book it. Book it.
All right. Well, you are one of the few. I think you're the first or second person to have joined the show and talk about the weekly top 10.
Wow.
Let's talk about the weekly top 10.
Let's get into it.
What's been happening in the NFT weekly top 10? The top 3 projects are Axie Infinity, Mechaverse, which I know is Tyler's favorite. Mutant Cats are the top 3. Tyler, why are they the top 3?
I'm actually surprised to see Axie Infinity up there because I heard there was an update that wasn't too favorable to a lot of people, but I don't pay attention to it that closely. I do have 2 teams of Axies that I have scholars playing for me for, but I do need to do more research and to see, get more involved in that. But it's really just something that I haven't looked into. Mechaverse. I was just going to check the floor of that. I think it's at 2 Ethereum. Can you confirm that for me? My OpenSea is not loading right now.
All right, we'll confirm. Well, tell us why you love Mechaverse. I like to call it Mechaverse, but I know it is called Mechaverse.
Oh, I haven't heard that. Mechaverse. Okay.
Mechaverse. Tell me why you love Mechaverse or Mechaverse.
I mean, it's a love-hate thing with these kind of drops. I don't really love the like they love to avoid gas wars, with the raffles and whatnot. But when you have 3,300 people minting something for 0.4 ETH or 0.2 ETH, that's literally half of the supply, and you're gonna just see everybody just at any corner just taking a profit when they can. So when you see the floor went up to 80 and right back down to 5 to 3 to now 2, it's probably going to go to 1.5 as well. And I think that'll be the wall, or that'll be the strong support, or maybe it's 2. But yeah, I mean, it does not look good for the Mechaverses out there.
No, and the floor is 2.09. Look, I mean, I think one can argue that maybe the way they did it is kind of good, right? Because you had an opportunity to put your name in the lottery and be able to buy these things for 0.02 and guaranteed to make yourself money, right? Like
Guaranteed.
We knew that if you were one of the chosen ones, you're going to be able to flip this thing, right? So, I think for people in the community like myself and you and others who are trying to get more people into the NFT space, right? Like I told a few of my friends, I'm like, look, I know you guys don't own NFTs. Throw your name into this, right? Because you're literally like, you're going to get the biggest happy birthday ever if you're able to get chosen.
You're literally hitting the jackpot if you hit one of those. Like it's literally, you would have made 5 ETH if you had 2 of them, each.
Right.
So that's 10 ETH profit. If you're starting out in the NFT world, 10 ETH is a lot. So
I mean, like I think different philosophy. Your return on investment from 0.04 to
it was 0.4
to 10 ETH is real is an ROI you probably never ever make again in your life unless you're very, very sharp in the NFT space. But yeah, you're saying the right things, right? Like you knew this thing was gonna pop and you knew this thing was gonna go down. Do you think they kind of got the bad end of the stick that they kind of launched during a time where the market is going down?
I mean, you could say that, but I think that regardless of when they launched the project, like we even saw when what was it, the on ones, like that was the peak of the bull market, and they ran up to 80 Ethereum, and they never ever found a stable floor again. And history repeated itself. Even the writing was on the wall. The botted Discord. It was just very. I checked the dev Discords the other day before I did another show, and they didn't tweet in like 4 days since the drop. Like it was very, very strange. There's no roadmap. There's nothing. So I mean, maybe they're coming out with something. There's a lot. Like there is a lot of volume there. So they definitely could do something. And I have no doubt. I mean, I do have obviously doubts, but they should do something with that money. You know what I mean? So it could work out.
Right. And you never know. I mean, look, I know that there were some conversations that the metadata was leaked,
right.
And,
yep.
and they gave the rare ones out to their friends, which I'm sure happens more often than not. And like I remember when Fluff World came out, and that was another project that I think went up to like 2 or 3 Ethereum, and then quickly came down to reality.
Yep.
But if you're keeping track on it, because I do own 2 of them, they're slowly starting to creep back up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the conversation is always like, look, what price did you get in at, right? If you minted these things and, you didn't sell for the 6 or 8 Ethereum, there might be opportunities for you to hold, wait, and see what happens.
At that point, yeah. I mean, if you went into the project and you didn't sell it immediately, you obviously have faith in the art and the developers and what the team is doing, and you're always going to get that with any project, which is which is fantastic. You got to have believers, it's great.
Yeah. But look, I think on the other side of it is, if you're buying this project at 8 and then you're trying to flip
Don't do that.
Don't do that, right? That's like rule. Don't chase bad money, right? That's like going to Vegas, losing all your money, and then going to the ATM and trying to win your money back. It's not going to happen. We all know it's not going to happen. And I think that's not, I don't think you have to learn that lesson in NFTs. I think you have to learn that lesson in anything else.
Sadly, we all still have to learn that lesson. We love chasing the pre-reveal lottery. I still do it myself.
Guilty.
But
I'm guilty.
on a lower scale, though. I'm not doing it for 8 Ethereum. I'll do it for like 0.1.
So let's talk about. I mean, you brought up Axie, right? You're surprised Axie's number 1. We've been doing this show, I believe, for about 20 weeks, and Axie has been number 1 or top 3 almost every single week, right? And like most of the people that kind of I talk to on daily basis, like there's almost Axie experts, right? Like there's people that are really into Axie, really into Zed, and then there's people that are really into kind of everything else that's going on. But the numbers they're doing is absolutely tremendous, right? It's like
astronomical.
And it doesn't look like they're going anywhere because, like you said, right, you have 2 scholar teams that you're sponsoring. Mm-hmm. You don't really know about the project, but I'm assuming something's going right there and there's some money being made.
I think the whole reason really why I got involved into like what really brought me into NFTs was the whole gaming, behind the capabilities behind, NFTs and gaming. Fortnite was a free to play game, and they earned over $1 billion on their marketplace, and you can't do anything after that. You buy it, and and it's not even yours really technically, so you can't even resell it either. So I kind of did my research that kind of way, and that's what kind of brought me into this space. And I knew that from all of like the volume and all of the articles in the Philippines on even like Forbes did an article on Axie Infinity, I knew that it was definitely going to be something, and I'm glad I did because I still believe in that project 100%.
No, I do too, and I think that we had Gabby Cizone on the show who has, I believe he has 25 or 50 scholars, and he's built a big business around it. But he's from the Philippines, and for him, it's a way, like he's like almost famous in the Philippines because he's able to provide opportunity for people who would have not had this opportunity otherwise, right? Yeah. They're literally making life-changing money going from somewhere where the average salary is $100 to $200 a month, and now they're making $400, $500, $600 a month playing Axie, which is incredible compared to what they would have been making at their day-to-day job. And they're doing what they love, right? They're playing a game, so
it's very easy. Yeah, it's not like they're breaking their neck or doing hard labor. It's just playing a game.
Okay. Well, and the other top 3, the third one, Mutant Cats.
Oh, man.
And from what I understand, the reason they're top 3 is because they have a coin associated with it. And this is something we're seeing and this is something we're seeing more and more and more. Mm-hmm. We're going to give you a coin. It's going to yield money. It's going to give returns.
Yeah, DAO.
Exactly. What are your thoughts on that? Do you believe this is a trend? Do you believe this is hype? Do you believe this is the future?
I mean, this is definitely the trend right now. But I actually bought what was it? There's so many of them. A mutant zombie. What is it? Mutant cat zombie. I don't even know. But I bought one of them, the one that's on the top 3, and I bought it for like 0.5. And then a lot of FUD started coming out around like DAOs and stuff like that. Like the those turtles got rugged. So I'm like I'm just gonna. I sold it for like I think literally at cost, and then like the next day it went to like 2.5 Ethereum, and I'm like, yep, that would happen actually. So yeah.
But do you? I mean, look, I think why NFTs are interesting. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why they're interesting. Is because you get creative, right? There's utility to it. There's a DAO associated to it. There's ways you could make money on it. I mean, but like, are we coming to a point where people are almost trying to over innovate and they're just or maybe they're not over innovating, right?
I
Maybe
think it's
they're
less innovation. Everyone's just copying each other. Like it's
yeah. No, you're right. So I mean, is that where it's like, then you look at other projects that are super innovative, like Punk's Comics, and saying like, wow, these guys is where you really should be investing the money because they're super smart compared to the projects that are,
exactly.
Have a lot more hype and they're not doing anything except copying somebody else's idea.
Exactly. Like when I invest in a project, I'm looking at, the developers and, an established project that's, been around. Like this project came out, how many weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, and they're already offering like you can already exchange that token for like thousands of dollars, right? It's just stinks. I mean, there's no really other way around it. But with Punk's Comics, they have like a Halo developer on the team. They have the guy from Marvel Comics on the team. They are a very established project that hosts town halls every week, and yeah, they're more expensive. They're over 70 Ethereum for a Punk's comic, but I think in the long run, those things are going to be one of the best projects to own in the NFT space.
I agree. Well, let's dive into a little bit deeper about you, Tyler. Tell us your story about, you started to touch on it a little bit, how you got into the space, right? Let's tell our audience. You're like an OG in here. When you've been in here, what, 4 or 5 months?
Right. Yes. I guess I am. But I have to thank, COVID, I guess. I got furloughed from my job and I had a lot of extra time, and I was just watching a TikTok one day, believe it or not, which is kind of really embarrassing. And the guy was like, Ethereum is going to, $1,400 or, $2,000 this year. So I'm like, all right, I'll take a look at this. And, I did some research. I follow a lot of people I used to follow a lot of people on Twitter that were involved in daily fantasy sports. So I learned about Top Shot through them. They were making, very, very large purchases. They were purchasing CryptoPunks as well. So I kind of noticed a pattern of, a change of the times were changing right now, and people are investing big, big money into these things. And, I have to hop on board basically. So I also come from a background where I collect actual sports memorabilia. So when I learned about Top Shot, I was, instantly, hooked. They're partnered with the NBA. You can interact with players from the NBA, and we're going towards a more digital world. Why am I going to invest in a box of cards and, maybe get something, or I can invest, $500 in Top Shot and maybe get tickets to a game or in a raffle to go to the finals, or there's so much room to play with that they have. There's so much to come
that they haven't done or are not doing.
Well, I have faith. All right.
I did too.
But so I started there, and then I basically learned about, NFTs through I feel like Top Shot was my OpenSea, and now OpenSea is, where I live now. So I basically took all of my money. I literally risked my entire life, all my financials, everyone thought I was insane, risking my life to do this shit. And, I remember going on the Bored Ape minting page to mint them at 12:30 at night. And I'm like, I'm going to take it easy tonight. It's 12:30. I'm in bed. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and then we'll see. And at that point, it was already sold out. And I just saw something different about that project, because there weren't many projects launching back then. There were, maybe like 2 every 2 days. Like it was ridiculous the amount of, projects that were launching back then. It was nothing compared to now. But I saw something different, the hype around it, the community that was being built, it was just different. So I started buying and selling them, and then I made my biggest purchase. I bought 2 apes for $10,000 each. It was 5 Ethereum each, so I spent 10 Ethereum. I sold one at 2:00 in the morning, and I actually woke up to go to the bathroom, and I saw the Ethereum in my wallet. I was so ecstatic, because that was the sale to like put me over the edge, put me like in the profit, and I can just relax. This is a very risky investment for me, you know. So, and then I was searching for apes to buy at 2:00 in the morning. I remember, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna savor this moment. Like I'm gonna have a great day tomorrow, and we're just gonna hang out, and then I'll go shopping for apes. And then I come, you know, at 6:30 in the morning or 7 in the morning, and all that money is just out of my account, $20,000, and it's just like the worst day of my life, you know. Oh, sorry.
So wait, back up. So you bought apes, you sold them,
like buying and selling, flipping, and
so you're kind of like, I don't know if this is gonna really work.
But I saw a pattern, you know.
You're like, I believe, but I'm not 100%, right? Like you're kind of halfway into the pool, but you're not like going under the water. And then, so you finally made some sales, you made some money, and then the money was gone.
I'm super safe with my like, you know, I don't click on any shitty links, you know. I wrote down my seed phrase, and I know, you know, friends that even took a picture of their seed phrase, and they're still doing fine. So I really don't even know what happened, and that's kind of the worst part. So
you have like a sister or something, or like a distant cousin who doesn't like you, who has access to your seed phrase or something?
No. It's just I don't even know. No, I didn't have a ledger at that point either. I was so new that I didn't even know like a hardware wallet even existed, to be honest. And I didn't really know that I was gonna be messing around with that sort of money either. So yeah, I woke up at, you know, 7 or 6:30, and then it was all gone, and I cried for 3 days. I got back on my horse, and here we are today. I can't believe I made it this far. You know, 15,000 followers on Twitter. I built my you know, my NFT account to, you know, all these blue chip, Cool Cats, Punks Comics. You know, you can see on my banner what I'm rocking with. But I'm just so grateful that he didn't take my other NFTs that I had, because I had other apes in there. He just wanted the straight ETH. So I'm so thankful that he didn't take any of that. Yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing if he did.
All right, so you basically lost your profit. You still had your
I still had some apes to play with.
Apes, and I'm assuming you held on to those apes, right? Or
so I sold one for like 3.5 ETH, and I was really pissed about it, because like the next, you know, 2 weeks later they were selling for like 20 ETH, you know. So I sold one. I had 3 apes left at that point, and I'm never getting rid of, like, I will get rid of my bubblegum party hat ape at, you know, some point, obviously, but that's the one that I wanted to keep, you know, forever. So I had 2 apes to work with, and I ended up selling one for 20 ETH like the next month. So that got me like a huge, you know, head start, or not even a head start, you know, back on my feet basically. And I minted some Cool Cats as well, and I held on to those for a little bit. So I just had a huge Cool Cat sale the other day as well, which I'm super surprised. You know, it wasn't even a rare one. It was just, I had it listed for above the floor, and someone just bought it. Must have liked it. So yeah, I'm very thankful.
So you got. I saw the other day, I think it was yesterday. An ape sold for $1.4 million, and the cyber guy, and I believe the last like 2 sales before that, somebody sold it for like 0.29 Ethereum.
Oh, man.
Like that. And like, you know, if that person is still in the space, which I'm sure they are, and who knows, right? They might have 100 Bored Apes, right? And or one or whatever. But that still like burns, right? Like that's still like,
that stings.
Like, what the fudge, right? Like, what was I doing? Like,
what's really funny, I haven't told anyone this before, but one day I was just on the activity page on OpenSea, and I ended up paper handing a sup duck, you know, back when they were like 0.4 ETH, and I took like a slight loss on it. And then like I was randomly searching that project activity, and like 5 minutes before, I'm like, wait a minute, that was my sup duck that just sold for 4.5 ETH, and I paid 0.44 for it.
I have had that happen to me as well. I sold something, and like 2 days later, I think they sold it for like 15 Ethereum.
Oh no, don't even look, man. Don't look.
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? But listen, I think that's part of the game, right? I mean,
You gotta learn.
You gotta learn. You gotta like, and like, I listen. I'm every day I'm taking phone calls from friends, people on social media asking me like, hey, how can I get into the space? I want to buy my first NFT. Where do I go? This and that. And I say to them right away, like, look, if you're gonna invest, like, I could educate you and give you, like my 2 cents on stuff, but don't invest any money until you actually do your own research, right?
Yeah.
Figure out this is something you want to do. And also understand when you're buying something, right? Like, hopefully this is not your last money that you're buying with, right? Like, be prepared to lose it, but more importantly, be prepared to hold, right? I think everyone is very jaded when they're like, they want instant gratification, which fortunately and unfortunately in NFT world, we see on an everyday basis, right? We see stuff, you could buy stuff for an Ethereum and the next day it could be worth double.
The next hour.
The next hour, right? Forget the next hour. So you're kind of like, holy shit, right? Like I'm killing it, right? But that's not like normal life, right? Like right now the market is down and I'm kind of like, I'm almost a little bit thankful because I think like we need to kind of experience that, right? We need to kind of get back to reality that stuff is going to fluctuate, stuff's going to go up, stuff's going to go down. We're going to have wins, we're going to have losses. It can't always be a win, right? Like that's not how life works, unfortunately, but it's not how life works.
Yeah, it's tough right now. I have a couple friends asking me as well, like they want to get involved in the NFT space. And one of my best friends from high school actually just made his biggest purchase. Well, he bought a Sappy Seal and then he bought a Creature. So that's, he bought one for like 0.3 and then he went from like that to 2.5 all in a matter of like a week, which is awesome. But like I was trying to recommend these projects to him and it's just like, you got to have some money right now too, because I want to recommend an established project that's I think will do well. I don't want you, losing your money. But this is a space where you're going to see huge gains, but in reality, that doesn't happen all the time. Like you have to hold on to it and you have to believe in the team to bring the value to the project. And it doesn't happen overnight. And that's why I'm really avoiding just buying anything that I see flying off of OpenSea before I do my research. I get bored at night.
and I guess you touched on it. Believe in the team. I mean, what are some other advice that you would give to newcomers or people that are looking to get into the space? Like, what should they do? Like, what makes a good team a good team? And good team community, right? You got to like the art, like. But what makes a good community a good community? What makes a good team a good team?
Yeah. So I think that, it's very important to have devs that are not anonymous, that they have a face to them and, they're known. We want accountability here. We need people to be held accountable for their actions if shit goes south, so trust is a very big key here, I believe. I also think that it's just organic as well. Like we don't really I don't really like seeing these discords that have 250,000 people in it when how many MetaMask wallets are there? You know what I mean? Like I don't even think there are that many. Like
there are, but they're not all in that Discord, right? I get what you're saying, and it has to be like you said, organic.
There's other, like I was looking at this other Discord as well where it had over like 33,000 members in it, but only 6,000 of them actually verified their Discord membership or whatever it's called. So numbers can be very skewed. You have to, it's not even long research. All you got to do is just go to the Discord, look at the announcements, look at, who verified, I was actually looking at the other. Have you heard of the Project Bamboozlers? They're on the top 10. If you go to them right now, and then you can look at their announcement page. The first announcement is just about burning and staking, and the link to the secondary market. no other announcements, and the floor is, triple the mint price, or quadruple the mint price.
So, I mean, let's break that down a little bit. Like, how do we know it's a good project, right? I mean, what do we like? And look, I think some of this is I don't want to say hard research, easy enough to do, right? Like, and
Just some
obviously
reading.
you have to get your feet wet a little bit. What is a Discord? How does it work? How does it function? What makes a good Discord good or bad? And I think the one thing that I'm sure everybody could tell you in this community, you could ask anybody a question, they're going to answer it, right? There's no like, everybody wants to help. So I think that's like, if you're a newbie, rule number one, ask a lot of questions, right? Is that a fair statement?
That is very fair. And I actually struggle with that myself. I was talking about this with my friends. Like, I am terrible at networking. Like, I don't really talk to many people at all, and have to get better at that. But definitely ask questions, make these connections, join Discords, get involved in different communities, that will only help you in the long run. And even like just looking, my whole thing is long term. So I love looking for games and projects, utility behind a game, play to earn. I think, look at Axie Infinity. So if you have the right game developers, the right team behind a project, and they're making the right moves, they're providing the value to the community, it might be a good investment. I mean,
Okay,
not financial advice, but maybe it
not
is.
financial advice. Hashtag not financial advice. And Tyler, it's clear you're an influencer now, right? I mean,
I guess so.
you have a very active Twitter. How many followers do you have on Twitter?
Just over 15,000, I guess.
All right, let's.
I don't even. I mean,
but I mean, and how did that happen? How did you become, a guy on Twitter with 16,000 followers?
So I think that I was involved in I was dipping my feet in a lot of different communities. I've held on to a lot of different projects, and of course, the Bored Ape helps. Let's just, we'll get that out of the way. I was lucky enough to buy an ape at 3 Ethereum, so I've been around here for a little bit. Able to buy cool cats at 0.8, so I've been pretty fortunate to be involved in this space right now. But I just think that being involved in different communities and being relatable and funny is what really brought me to this level. I try not to take life too seriously, and I think that there's a lot of fluff in this Twitter NFT space where there's a lot of positivity, and I try and bring everybody back to reality sometimes. And I think some people appreciate it and some people don't, but I kind of like the love it, they hate it. You either love me or you either hate me. There's no in between.
I like that. So you're kind of the funny guy who's like, hey, shit could all go south. I mean, let's be real here.
Exactly. Like we might be, I don't think so. Obviously, it's a joke, but
just kidding.
But it is possible. My dad always says everything can go to zero, but he's a boomer, so.
No, but I mean, I think that's interesting, and like, so now you're a funny guy on Twitter who has a niche of kind of, or has an angle of how you communicate and how you kind of share content and news, and like, what is there a price to pay for that, or are people kind of coming to you and saying, like if you buy something, are people like, I'm gonna buy this because?
Oh no, I do not have that influence yet.
Like, you do not have, yeah.
No. I don't think so.
Like the goal, right? Like the goal is to be. I mean, do people reach out to you and ask you to show projects? I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they ask me to show projects. I'm just, I don't think that that's my kind of thing. Like, I'm not very. I like to be very authentic in what I bring out to the Twitterverse. So I think that's another reason why people kind of respect me or follow me or whatnot, because if I'm putting something out there, it's because I'm buying it, I'm investing in it, I believe in this project. I'm not putting it out there because someone's paying me for it. Sure. And that's even though they might be, or they're offering to, or it might just be a friend, because I'm helping them out, but I still am investing in the project. I still have money behind this project.
Right. And then look, I think talking about a friend's project or talking about even an influencer's project, we've done our research, right? Like if I'm, and like you said, I'm investing my own money into it. And if I'm going out there and saying, I like this and here's why I like it, it's somebody else's, this is not financial advice. People always ask me like, what is a project going to go to? I'm like, how am I supposed to know? I don't know. Like, I'm not the guy behind the curtain pulling the strings. I'm telling you, here's why I like it. Here's why, I'm invested into it. And here's why I believe in it. What you choose to do is completely up to you. And also, there's no gain in there for like, I don't get a royalty if you buy it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's all about, authenticity. And I think that there are a lot of like actors out there. So I try and be somebody who can be authentic and trustworthy in that way. So
trustworthy, authentic, and funny. I like the funny. Tal and I just spoke before the show, and I'm like, are you trying to be like the fat Jewish of the NFT Twitter community? And look, I think that's like on the different side of things. There's guys that are on IG and on social media that have literally made millions of dollars having a point of view about something, right? Whether it's the right point of, whether they're being comical, whether they're being offensive, whatever it is, people obviously like the content that they're putting out.
Yeah. And I also like to be somewhat informative as well. I'm not just, posting whatever the project is. I like to, provide the value, the utility, the benefits behind it. And that's why I'm investing.
How much time do you put into research before you buy a project?
Oh, I mean, so what's funny, I was on a live stream the other day. I have not done like any research lately. Like I've been just trying to just like chill right now. Like, but everyone's situation is different. Like I used to mint every project 3 months ago. Like I'm just trying to, relax right now. Like everyone has different situations. I'm in a certain situation right now that I, don't want to discuss, but I don't really want to be spending money right now, even though I want to. Like I want to get involved in soul projects. I want to get involved in the new Coinbase marketplace, and I probably will, but I just I'm taking it easy right now. But if I like, for instance, like having ETH right now and jumping into multiple projects and minting and just seeing if you can get a rare works out sometimes. Like that's definitely a strategy that people deploy out there, and you can mint 3 projects for 0.5 ETH, and one of them hits for 3 ETH. You mint a rare,
right? I mean, look, in like the VCs that make investments into startups, they're looking for one of those. The goal is for one of those to become a unicorn, and that they're making crazy returns on their investments.
Yeah.
They're almost okay with 7 of them failing, right? If 3 out of 10 are successful, that's considered a huge win.
Exactly.
Even if 1 out of 10 is considered a win. So I think that approach of if you have to eat and you're able to kind of go in, mint, and but look, right now there's so much, right? Like there's so much to mint. We've seen every single animal 60 ways from and I still don't really understand why we're so like focused.
We love animals.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, "Ooh, I'm a cat guy. I'm gonna buy a cool cat." I was like, I've never even thought of it that way. Of like, what animal person are you associated with, and that's why you're gonna buy an NFT.
That's interesting.
But we have a question from the audience here. Thoughts on decentralized token governance projects? Is anyone truly embracing this model while being accountable?
This one's tough because like after the tweet that you saw from the Bored Ape Yacht Club, how they're taking their time with it and they're like, we're going to do everything correctly. It's not going to be released until 2022. And then you see, what was that? I can't remember that project that was on the top 3. Mutant Zombie Cats.
Cat Mutants, I believe it was called.
um,
Yes.
and like they're already offering, you know, liquidity. So it's kind of,
Well, look, I mean, you know, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Technically, it's illegal to offer tokens. I mean, I've done my research. I've spoken to lawyers. You cannot give out tokens without filing for the SEC. So I'm sure a lot of these projects are based overseas, and there's kind of different ways around it. But it might come to a point where it might be a successful project. 2 years down the line, the SEC comes down and says, "Hey, we're going to shut you guys down and take you to jail." And now this coin is worth zero, which nobody really actually talks about. But
we don't talk about it until it happens.
right, but it's gonna happen. Like, I mean, we've seen it in the ICO world, right? Like, guys are going to jail and they're paying fines, and like, we're gonna see the same thing happen here. If you're doing something, you have to, you know, like I think Bored Ape Yacht Club is doing it the right way, right? They're not just throwing their, and they don't need to. I think that's the other part, right? I think what Bored Ape said, where they're like they could be as slow as possible.
Take your time.
Like, you know, what's floor at 140K? Like, what else do you want? Like, what else do you guys want? Like, how much more? Like, you know, I get it if you bought it at 160, you want something, but I think if you're spending $160,000 on an NFT, you have to look at it from a long-term perspective.
Yeah, you shouldn't be trying. If you're spending $160,000 on an NFT, you shouldn't be trying to make $5,000 on your trade the next day. Like, you should, that's a long-term investment. Like, if you want to flip something, go buy something for like 0.5 ETH and try and flip it for an ETH or 2 ETH. You know, I hate seeing that. Like, people, that was very bad when the apes ran up to 60 ETH. You saw a lot of people get burnt. You know, they were buying them for like 50, 60, and they were selling them for 40, 30. It was bad.
Well, I mean, look, I think the other part that, you know, different and there's a lot of people made a lot of money, right? And they're still making a lot of money. But the conversation was like, well, when is NFTs going to take the next step? They're going to take next step when, you know, more institutional money is going to come in, and more things are going to get bought out, and, you know, these big banks and brands are going to continue to come in, which, you know, we know brands are coming in. But in order for that to happen, there has to be some sort of governance, right? There has to be something that's actually that's gonna kind of say like it can't just be like, you know, rug pulls left and right, right? There has to be something that has some sort of value to it.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen. Like, and the Bored Apes are going to lead the way in the industry, you know, regarding the DAO and the tokens and all of that. So it will be interesting what happens to all these projects that, you know, claim that they're a DAO and they're paying out their members. It's definitely going to get tricky for sure.
So you mentioned the new platform Coinbase is launching, which we actually didn't cover in our news update. But Coinbase did come out and say, hey, we're building our own NFT platform, and they have 60 million users. OpenSea has 400,000. What do you think this means for, I guess, both the NFT world and OpenSea?
So I have a question. Can I list my OpenSea items on the Coinbase marketplace?
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to assume, I'm going to make a very big assumption that there's going to have to be some sort of collaboration between OpenSea and Coinbase. If not, I think if Coinbase plays their cards right, they're going to destroy OpenSea. I wouldn't be surprised if they just bought them out, right? And they just said,
at this point,
I mean, that's a big gorilla in the room that they have to go compete against. You know, for them, they have 60 million users. But I think on the other side of it, it's great news, right? Now there's going to be potentially how many new users in the NFT space, or if you're somebody that, you know, Coinbase is a publicly traded company, right? So if you're somebody that owns Coinbase stock, you're now saying, hey, look, Coinbase is investing into the NFT space. This must mean NFTs, JPEGs are real, right?
As if we didn't have enough confirmation from, you know, Visa and, you know, the NBA partnering with Top Shot. there's just so much news that isn't getting reported. It's just all just like crypto is bad, NFTs are bad. What's this picture on the internet? There's just so much potential behind it, and everyone just looks at it as a piece of art on the internet or picture, and there's so much more behind it.
Well, what do you think is the potential? Like, what's your outlook, Tyler's outlook of what NFTs look like in 3, 5, 10 years?
I mean, this is literally the future we're talking about here. Like, I think every company is going to have their own token or their own NFT. I think any celebrity is going to have their own token or NFT. To get access to something, you're going to need to have the NFT to get access to it. I mean, this might be longer down the road, but my whole thing is, like I said, gaming. Like, I think that the play to earn and the potential behind the gaming industry, esports took 5 years to blow up. It's just like you can get a scholarship for playing a video game nowadays. So imagine the marketplace or what the games are going to be built or what the teams that are going to be building in 5 years or what's going to happen. And that's what I think is taking, institutions are kind of, cautious of investing in an NFT right now because they don't really know what it is. It's so new. It's so new.
I mean, look, you're right. And I think the only people that have really proved, well, I mean, I guess Axie proved it, but I think it's a little bit different. Zed is the only one that I've seen that really has real true utility, right? Like there's, I'm a big believer in Zed, and I completely will go on the record and say probably within the next 3 years, we're going to walk into a casino in Vegas.
In Vegas, no, 100%.
And be able to bet on a Zed horse that somebody else owns, one of us owns, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
And that is just a complete game changer from the perspective of, like, we're talking about billions of dollars in the betting world, right? And the gaming world, and you're getting Vegas involved. So but there's not that, a lot of people, everyone's saying we're building a game, right?
We're
really hard to build a game. I mean,
let me see an example of your game.
Right. But to your point, I think you gave that example earlier of like Fortnite, and honestly, that's where it clicked for me as well. Like my kids play Fortnite, and I play with them.
Me too.
Like I get the skins. I get the skins component of it.
Exactly.
I understand of what it would take to own, like, I mean, look, I actually think probably Fortnite is going to figure it out before everybody and eventually say, hey, we're turning Fortnite into an NFT, and you build your own character, and you could buy him, and now you own him, and you can go play with him, right? I mean,
and trade them. That's the biggest thing. Like, you actually don't even own anything that you're buying right now. Like, I spent $500 on those skins in the game, and they're just sitting on my account on Xbox. I can't do anything with them. I can't liquidate them. Like, there's no marketplace for them. Like,
right. And there's no rarity to them, right? Like,
exactly.
That's the other side of it. And then if you look at the NFTs, you're like, well, wait, I own this, and there's a rarity component to it. And you said you're from sports memorabilia. I'm sports card. Like, that's what attracted me to it, right? Like, there's a rarity. I'm one of only, 10, 15, 50 people to own one. That completely makes sense to me. So going back to the question, you believe NFTs are the future. You believe we're both in the space. We're believers in the space. But like, what, I mean, like, give me like an out there example of what you think is going to happen in, I don't know, 5 years with NFTs.
I think that we're only going towards a digital world. We're not going backwards. I think, like, for instance, like the sandbox, we see how big Minecraft is, and it's just all, like, my whole thing is gaming. Like, that's, I really all can go back to that. Like, we saw, like, my first stock that I ever bought in 2016 was Activision Blizzard, because I saw Overwatch and I was like, this game is going to be huge. They're building an esport out of it. Like, they're partnered with the right team members or the right projects, or it clicked for me. So when you can earn money just by playing a game on your computer, if you're 16, we see it in the Philippines. And why not? When I'm 15 years old or 14 years old, I can, sit on my computer. I do that anyway right now. why not earn some passive income by clicking a mouse? So I can see in 5 years, like you even going back to the whole Zed thing, there are VR experiences right now in Vegas. So how is there not going to be like a Zed stable, like storefront in one of the Vegas casinos in the next 5 to 10 years? I cannot not see that. There's already an esports hotel. HyperX Chairs has a hotel, or the stadium is there, or whatnot. It's
right. It's because we love experiences as people. We're always looking for something new and different, and our attention spans are like we're all ADD, right? We want the next best thing. We want instant satisfaction. It's the way of the world. It's what's gonna. I think the hardest part for people to wrap their heads around of like almost like what the word NFT means, right? Or like why does it hold value? I mean, it's kind of like ask why does a sweatshirt hold value, right? Like why does a watch hold that? Like why do certain things hold values is based on why does somebody walk into a store and say I'm going to pay $500 for a pair of sneakers or $1,000 for a jacket? Because it's branding, right? It's marketing, it's brand building, there's so many different components to it.
Yeah, and there's not even like there may be communities for those like brands or whatnot, but not how like immersed and how easily accessed like a Discord community is. Like you're in a club, you have networking opportunities. Like these are some of the smartest people that you'll ever meet, involved in this space. So they're like it's not just, buying the JPEG. You have access to all of this information, all of these people, all these connections, and you can make a living doing this, and you see a lot of people doing it as well.
I think it's a very interesting point that you have access, right? You have access to somebody that's part of the Bored Ape community or part of the Bored Ape Yacht Club,
or any community. It's not even just the Bored Apes. Like
no, but I mean, like you might not necessarily have access to, right? Like if Steve Aoki or Steph Curry, right? Like you kind of have access to him, right? Whereas like if you wanted to reach out to Steph Curry in any sort of other way, it would probably it's hard, right? He's a big celebrity.
Yeah, but he might answer me if I have an ape profile picture.
Right. That's where I was going with that. You have something in common, right? It's like it's almost like you guys have a distant family relative or something like that in common.
And he also could like host a Bored Ape basketball event, and if you have to have an ape to get a ticket. So like that's the whole other thing with this whole access thing and it's all just interaction and engagement and just bringing people we wouldn't have access to. Now we have access to talk to them now because we're in their club. We're in the same club as you.
Yeah, I agree. Well, before I let you go, and I really enjoyed this conversation because it's, like it all makes sense to me, right? I hope it makes sense to everybody else watching. But before I let you go, what's next for Tyler? What's the next big move? Which would be looking out for?
I take this day by day, man. This is like this space moves a million miles per hour. I really don't have any plans right now. I'm really actually just looking to just keep on, getting on these kind of streams and maybe even starting my own, channel. I think that I need to get my face out there more and, be more, active and informative and, get my face out there more and make some content because there are going to be more people joining this space for sure.
I love that. And I love that authentic, real answer, right? You're just like, hey, I don't have a plan, but I'm here. I'm out there. I provide some value. And like I said, you're an OG in the space, right? Like, which is kind of comical on one side of it where but yeah, I mean, look, you bought Top Shot, right? Like that's the gateway drug for almost everybody, or a lot of the people who've been in the space from the very beginning. They bought Top Shot, right? And from Top Shot, they went and they started buying other things. I was
looking at Ghost when they were 0.5 ETH. I want to throw up. You know the Ghost project?
Yeah, of course.
Makes me sick. I just take it day by day, and I appreciate you having on me. It was a great time.
Where can people find you?
Right there. at It's Tyler Says right there. Or here we go.
It's Tyler Says. Put him a follow on Twitter. Reach out to him. Connect with him. It was great to have you on. I appreciate you, Tyler. And we'll keep checking in with you, seeing what you're up to next. And hope to have you back soon, man.
Absolutely. Anytime. Have a great night, brother.
Later. Well, that was a fun time talking to my man Tyler. Appreciate him coming in as the co-host. Yossi, we miss you. Hope you'll be back next week. Thank you guys all for joining for another weekly rendition of Goats in the Metaverse. And for you first-timers, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because if you hit the subscribe button, you get a chance to win NFTs because of our Goat Vault. The Goat Vault. The Goat Vault is currently valued at $41,855. Once we hit 5,000 subscribers, we open up the Goat Vault and start giving away our NFTs. Yes, we do have a cool cat in there, which is worth 8.5 Ethereum. We got a woman of the world. We got some chicken derbies. We got some goats. We even got a collectible box in there. So give us a subscribe. Share the episode with your friends. I enjoyed this conversation, and we'll see you guys next week. Same channel. I was going to say same time, same place, but not sure of the time yet. But we're going to go to soon. We're going to be the same exact time every week. I promise. We're working on it. See you guys next week. Thanks.